Wayward soldier. All right. Hi. Hello. Welcome to the ACAB conversation. Can you hear me? You're muted. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, Jake?
Hi. Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to maybe be able to talk to you like a human being and not fumble around in a phone text type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically my stance is not particularly positively towards cops.
Okay.
Just against the whole purpose that people are ready to lump every single person of a group.
Every single person of a group. Interesting that you call them a group.
It's no different than any other. They say all.
Give me an example of another group that you would make similar to like ACAB.
Okay. All Polish people are stupid.
Okay. Did they choose to be Polish? Did they go to school to be Polish? Do you go to Polish school to be Polish, buddy?
You'd be surprised.
You'd be surprised? So the answer is, of course, without deflection, do you go to school to be ethnically Polish?
Of course not.
Okay, so what do I call you, by the way? What do you want to be called? Just
Call
your
me
name?
by my name.
Sure.
My name's Mike.
Mike. Okay, Mike. Do you think that maybe there's a bit of difference between being ethnically Polish and being a police officer? And what is the difference?
Okay, so the difference would obviously be one is an occupation and one is a ethnic group.
Right, and so do I have to walk you through why what you said was silly?
So,
or do you agree what you said was silly and you'll get another example?
I mean, I understand completely what you're saying.
And you understand why it's silly and why it doesn't make any sense and why it's a bad argument and why you shouldn't use it.
I do understand that.
Okay, so that's perfect. So you won't use that example again because doesn't apply. It doesn't apply at all. It's really dumb. So what's a good example of what you mean? So ACAB, you disagree with ACAB?
Just in the concourse of just general for anyone to logically think that everything of a certain anything is the same.
Do you think that's what's being said by
sense.
ACAB? So when you hear ACAB, what do you think that means? What do you think is being said?
Quite literally, that you think no cop is beyond redemption and they're all...
It's not true.
That's what it sounds like, though.
Yeah, but what's it
and
mean?
If you look at your comments, that's what a lot of the people probably would agree with.
Really? Because I can think of a good cop.
Do you ever talk about them?
All the time.
Because
cop that quits.
The whole crux was to name one good thing of 5 good things about a cop.
5 good. Yeah. What are your 5 favorite things about cops? Top 5 list about what cops do right now that you appreciate. Do they protect and serve?
I think it depends on the situation.
It doesn't.
I think we can't lump every single thing into the same bucket. It doesn't work.
I think you absolutely can say that the American experience of policing is not one where they feel protected or served. Do you think that is the general vibe that people get from police officers? They feel protected and served.
Certainly if you're a
what? A white business owner?
If you are a general white person who doesn't have any sort of record of any kind?
I don't have a record of any kind, and I'm a white person, and
Okay.
I have never felt comfortable around police because I have friends who aren't white.
Okay.
Okay.
I also have non-white friends,
Right.
but I have to go by my own experiences. I can't go by theirs.
Okay, and the general experience of theirs and yours and mine and everybody's in America seems to come up with police officers neither protect nor serve. That is the general consensus about cops. And it's not only just consensus like how we feel. It's not only the vibe we get from cops. It's quite literally they are charged. Cops, like, protect capital explicitly under the law. They protect possession and they protect business owners.
So when somebody is stopped by a traffic stop, you think based on them getting revenue rather than ever protecting other drivers?
Yes.
It's always about the revenue. It's never about somebody speeding and may possibly harm someone in their vehicle.
Wait. So you think if someone is justifiably pulled over for speeding, that it's like a scale that it's balanced against?
I'm saying that people get stopped by cops not just for purposes of revenue or holding some sort of capital over somebody.
Sure.
So the way that you're talking about it is almost like you expect it to be about possession or revenue or...
Yes, they get paid to take people to court. This is the thing.
I'm aware of that. It's not always...
Did you know that the police unions have lobbied to allow cops to get paid overtime for court cases? And most of the way that cops make like big money, especially in the big cities, is by taking people to court, like by arresting them. Even if the court case gets dismissed, they still get paid for that overtime. Like they're incentivized literally to bounty hunt people.
I live in New York. I've paid $200 speeding tickets before, man.
Yeah,
I know.
And so there's a reason that not only that happens. Yes, they are incentivized. It is a capital problem. Yes. And all cops are complicit in this, whether or not they do it. That's what ACAB means. ACAB does not mean that they never do a single good thing. It means that they are, in general, a entirely bad body to exist in. This is not different from making I bet there was some Gestapo that weren't bad guys. Like, because of course there were. Of course there were some. There was probably some people in any bad... Think of the bad group. In that group, there was probably people that were well-meaning, that were wrapped up in it and got pulled in. Didn't even believe what the other people believed, whatever. Still had to take part in it. You're complicit in it. You choose to be a cop, though. You don't choose to be a minority. You don't choose to be any of the other groups of people that get mistreated by them. You choose to be a cop. And it's not just about specifically cops. It's about their interaction with the edifice of capital in this country and how you saw what line they were on when they killed a man. You see which side they take.
Yeah.
That's not protection or service. All cops are bastards. Each of them. Individually. Bastards. For being complicit in the system that they know is corrupt. And yeah, that might not be super fair sometimes. But it doesn't matter. It's like being the best Nazi. It's like, okay, he was a nice guy, but I mean, he still did stuff. He was still complicit in it, even if you're a secretary. They definitely had... The Nazis had a fucking janitor. Still a Nazi. Like... Just because you do something that can be misconstrued as some sort of noble community pursuit is like fucking ridiculous to say that, oh, well, you did a good, yeah, you pulled over a speeder in the subdivision. I guess that means that all the other bad shit the rest of the department does and that I probably also do, I guess that's made up for. I mean, it's just this is such a liberal mindset.
But I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that one good will get rid of all of the bad either. All I'm saying is that shutting your brain off and just
do you think it's
putting everything in the same...
You're not understanding the messaging. And I didn't come up with ACAB. I wouldn't call it ACAB, but it is what it is. But that's not what it means. It doesn't mean literally every cop is evil. I just told you what it meant.
But you are incentivizing the people that they are the enemy. They are the enemy to you.
They are the enemy. What are you talking about? Cops are absolutely the enemy of the people right now in the country. Like, that's not it's not insinuated explicitly. Police officers in America are an armed wing of violence against American citizens. And any person across any political spectrum, especially fucking Republicans that say they want small government, should not allow any of these cops to have any of the power they have over us. I mean, they shouldn't have any power over us. They go to fucking community college. These guys are not bright people. The community college I went to has a police academy. They're dumb motherfuckers. They shouldn't be allowed to choose life and death over people. They shouldn't have the amount of violence they do, and they're all bastards. All of them.
I guess I'm just naive in that I really don't like grouping any group of people.
Again, it's such a fucking virtue signal. Like, it just comes across as like, well, now let's be fair. Like fuck off. Let's be fair. They're not fair. They're quite literally not. They monopolize violence against citizens, carte blanche, with little to no oversight, and then run for cash prisons that they get a cut of. They are incentivized to victimize you.
Well, if that was the case, then they all would.
That's not... What do you mean? They all do. They are all complicit in the...
Complicity and action are not the same.
Only in degrees. An accomplice to murder still is part of the murder. Even if they only provided the transportation. Like, what the fuck?
Okay, so
if a cop drives a car, what's the difference between this? Four people, one of which is a driver, three of which are shooters. They go up to a public park, okay, and they shoot a person in the park. It's a drive-by. Bam, 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 bam. And then they run back into the car and they drive away.
Mormon Jesus.
What's the difference between that and a police car filled with police officers driving into a park and then shooting a kid in a park? What is the difference? Maybe. Because these things have both happened. The difference is one is endorsed by the government, and in both cases, the drivers are complicit. Thanks for coming, Hannah. Appreciate it, Princess Amelia.
I mean, I would... I agree.
Okay, you'd have to agree.
Yeah, there's no way I can't.
Of course, because it doesn't make any sense.
But you blame the entire precinct for those two. So you say, let's say, so
because what happens? What happens? No.
Blame the district.
Here's
police.
Okay, but listen. Here's what happens. How do you think that plays out? Because you remember what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Steve. Thank you so much for the 18 months. And what happened? Did the department? Did the county stick up for the victim of the crime, or did they stick up for the people that perpetrated the crime?
They absolutely took care of their own.
Of course they took care of their own, because they're incentivized to do so. So even if they didn't commit the crime, they still supported it. The ones that didn't quit, people quit over George Floyd. Now, some of them quit simply because they didn't think they could kill as much. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, some of them, yeah. And I understand that. And I appreciate every cop that decided not to be a cop in order to do that. in order to distance themselves from such a thing. I have absolutely no problem with that. I think that they should be the ones that probably have continued doing the work.
Thanks, Mr. Whiskers.
But it's just...
We're one away from a hype train. Are we going to debate during the hype train?
It's either naivety or just complete me wanting to think that some facet of humanity is better than this. I don't know.
I understand the impetus to want police to be what they have been billed as. I also was a liberal. Mr. Whiskers and JD, thank you so much for the prime. So, it's just a lie that they sell. I understand, like, again, if cops, ACAB would stop overnight. ACAB would stop overnight if this is what happens. Is if when cops do dumb shit, the other cops hold them to account. And they say, yeah, that was some dumb shit. They fucked up. They should go to jail for that. If they had any oversight whatsoever in a responsible way, it would be fine. But that's not what happens. Every cop is complicit in that. Railcast, thank you. Neener, thank you. I understand, like, I have had this conversation from your point of view before. It's not about the literal message that every single cop individually is a piece of shit murderer that beats their wife and that is a Nazi or whatever. Penguin BD, thank you. It is simply ACAB means as a group, as a gang, and they are a gang, police officers represent the enemy of the people. They just do. I don't want that to be the case. I have many reformative prescriptions that I would take or put into place if I had some sort of leftist god powers that I could just go bloop and just fix stuff overnight. But like, the way that they police isn't community based. It's with violence forward policing. It's not to protect or to serve individual humans, and they certainly aren't specialized for the different kinds of ways that, like, crimes occur. They have basically one attitude towards stuff, and it is to bludgeon it or kill it while putting it in handcuffs. It's so fucking stupid. It doesn't help anybody. It makes them enemies. It makes them walk around town with their fucking guns out, and nobody feels safer. It's just the dumbest. Quebeca Spider, Sky Comment, thank you so much. Anyway, so when you hear ACAB in the future, I understand the impetus to not only want to defend the few good ones you know, or think of, or can conceive of, but I also understand, like, just the nitpick over the totality of the statement. I didn't choose it. I wouldn't market it that way. The same way I wouldn't market toxic masculinity in the way it's marketed. Because it sounds like masculinity equals toxicity. Because that's not the case. But, like, Maizelbub. ACAB, nonetheless.
I see what you're saying.
Rebecca, thanks for saying.
Absolutely. And I may not like it, but I do understand exactly what you mean. So
I respect you coming on. I respect you not losing your head. You don't sound like a Republican, though, so that's probably why.
I don't know. I try to blur the lines. I don't really want to affiliate with anything, but as you said, probably I do tend to lean a little bit to the right side. So that is what it is. I don't even have particular cops that I like.
Of course not, because you like freedom and you like to exist in your own space and you don't want people in your bullshit, right? Neither do leftists.
Yeah.
Leftists want smaller government. I know that's not what they tell you, but we don't want the government to have any more power than they do. In fact, I spent the beginning of this rant outlining how I'd want them specifically to have less power. Leftists want a small government. I understand, again, that it doesn't. I know the Republicans don't let you make this clear. I know that they don't sound like this, and certainly the Democrats don't help us because the Democrats aren't leftists; they're liberals.
Yeah, absolutely no.
They want their power and they want to hold on to that shit. But we leftists, what we want is the government to do one thing, and that is to really provide, not even provide, like maintain the lattice of American structure that keeps people from suffering. All we want is everybody to be maintained the living dignity. And anything after that, any excelling is done on their own. It's a true meritocracy. A true meritocracy is leftism. I mean, it just doesn't exist under capitalism. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I thank you, my friend. I have some well, they started a hype train, which I appreciate by chat, and I haven't been participating in it. So I appreciate the conversation. It was actually not bad. I think you should stick around because I don't think you're a lost cause, and I think that you sound like a nice enough guy. I think you mean well.
Well, I appreciate that.
All right, thanks for coming on, Mike.
Hey, look forward to seeing you in the future, man.
All right, thank you.
Take it easy.
Later.